Morning all, and welcome to another Sunday Q&A, of which we've got a couple of freelance trucking life on the road videos to cover, not least of which being Paint Your Wagon, which seemed to go down very well. Yeah, with everybody bar me. It was an experience, but we'll come to that in a bit. Anyway, I also did Sunshine on Luth, which was kind of a play on words with the Proclaimers thing, and Thomas Hurst has put me right. He said, for future reference, Pete, Luth is pronounced like mouth, so it's actually Sunshine on Louth. I will consider myself educated, Thomas. Thank you very much. Shane Hardy says, lovely to see my hometown in the video. Oh, hello, Shane. He said, terrible roundabouts on the A46 bypass at Newark, though, Pete, near the broken down Mini, as I know you're clueless regards to carrier regulations. I am absolutely clueless. Sat-navs are wonderful things without which I have absolutely no chance. Steve Campbell says, you are technically not allowed to look for return loads or do anything while you're on break though. No, I wasn't. Playing the guitar. Definitely playing guitar. Never looking for return loads when I'm sitting in laybys, and particularly not when driving, because that would be dangerous too, because none of us do that, because the CX definitely isn't engineered that way, is it? He also says bray's a type of cheese, isn't it? I don't know. I thought that was Edam. Is that an anagram? No, bray backwards is Yarab. That's not an anagram, that's palindrome. Stuart Thistlewood says, here you go, Pete. Right, yes, he did it, because I said, you know, there's probably worlds the world over. He said, a world is, worlds comprise a series of low hills and steep valleys that are the main underlay of the carrier, that's some kind of Latin word that I don't know, chalk and limestone and sandstone rock laid in the Cretaceous and Jurassic periods. And then Nick, in fairness, Nick at London Creative has been educating me to like worlds and hills and things, that kind of stuff. It's interesting. And as Rains Warning finally says on the subject, before we put it to bed, don't give up the day job, regards to you, Pete, regards banjo playing. Now, I've got a thing going on here, which is, you know, like Billy Brightwell, but Billy Bright's got this thing, he wants to put guitars into prisons. I want to put guitars into trucks. And I've got my mate, Dave the Crisps, who, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm rubbish, but it's fine, because I just play for me. I don't actually, no one else gets to watch it. I just get my guitar out, sit there on my own, play it. I don't do it for anybody else, I do it because I want to do it, and it's a really good way to pass break. But I have got a friend of mine, Dave the Crisps, who's the nicest guy I've ever met. And he is a phenomenal guitarist. He's really good. So what I want to do is I want to try and link up. If I'm doing something, and I will play on the videos just for the sake of it, but you won't have to listen for more than 2 seconds. It's just for the video, like, you know. But, I mean, I've got him, he's done me one on Black Coffee in Bed by Squeeze, and I will do you a link. And what I want to, if you go over and have a look at him, and if you fancy it, I mean, it doesn't work quite the same if you're in a van because you don't have to take regular breaks. But if you're in a truck, or maybe just if you want to, you're in a van, you can stick a guitar in. Don't have to, you can get a little electric one, Yamaha Pacifica or something, or just something off eBay or anything, like, you know. It doesn't have to be dear, doesn't have to make a lot of noise. And if you're bored, you can get it out and have a play. And it will just help the time pass and take a little bit of stress away. And also, if you go over to Dave's channel, follow the link over to Dave's channel, you can put requests in. Say, oh, hello, Dave, any chance you can show me how to play this? And he can play anything. He's phenomenal. So we'll see how we go with that one. I think it'd be great if we get the music in people's lives. I think it'd be a lovely thing, but there you go. So if you've got a recorder, chuck it out the window. Right, so it was a bank holiday, obviously. I've been off for a couple of days. It's been nice. I'd like to say I had a break, but I didn't because it wasn't very sunny and I just spent my time working, just kicking around the house. It's not been unpleasant. So how did we get on the lead up to it? C11 Yan said, this is Ian, he says, Jubilee weekend coming up, don't be afraid to bid 150 or a small van or 180 to £2 upwards on a long wheelbase. There will be stuff that needs to get done regardless and triple your minimum charges they'll pay. So how did we get on with this? I've got to say, from my point of view, I kind of struck it lucky. I took jobs early, and the last day, the Friday, I took a job from, it was kind of like Bedford going to Norwich. And you don't get anything out of Norwich. So before you don't get anything out of Norwich. Job pings up the night before. And it was from Snetterton. I'm like, okay, the interesting things about the job. I've been to Snetterton Racecourse now. Never been before. Interesting. And so I bid them, and it was only 50 miles. It's like Snetterton to Cambridge. And I thought, so I bid them on the job. and I bid decent money. I bid like my day rate, which is my half day rate, £250. And the guy rang me up. He kind of went, "Is that your best price?" I went, "Look, in the nicest way, my friend. It's bank holiday weekend. I'm either going to take this job or I'm just going to drive straight home and have a rest." He said, "Fine, I'll send it through." And the best bit was when I dropped my job in Norwich, I put it in a sat nav. It was 5 minutes away. That never happens. And then, of course, it's come through CB2. I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to Cambridge. I have to take an 18-ton round Cambridge. It's not pleasant. It's very windy streets. No, Papworth General. It's just like an airfield. Great big roads, brand new modern hospital. Absolutely lovely. So I was lucky. But let's see how you guys got on. Neptune Courier says, Glasgow area was very quiet on Monday as well. 3 jobs halfway to target. Hope Tuesday's better. I am seeing some shippers paying fair prices and others are just looking for cheap. Oh, it's a re-transport manager work. I am based in the Glasgow area and I believe I can cover Scotland. So something as far south as Birmingham. With the advent of TACO online data and video calling. So even if you're not based in Scotland, he could do it. So you reckon he could come down as far as Birmingham? I think you'd have to meet in person sometimes. He said, in my TN1 form, I will make the case for remote working with site visits if necessary, as long as operators' OCRS score is good and they should not. Yeah, so like with us, Daniel doesn't ever have to come and see us because we don't do anything wrong. That's the idea with an operator, just get it all right and then just cushy. It's not never do anything wrong. Harry's got a bit of an ice breaking. We'll talk to him about that. OCRS is Operators Compliance Risk Score, and you could show us one of your marvellous videos if I knew anything about it, Neil. But so I think what we can glean from that is if you need a transport manager, I now know a guy, but it might be a case of getting quick. So if you need a transport manager, give me a shout and I'll put you in touch with Neil or try and get something in the comments or we'll sort something out. So. TC Services says, we're still on bank holiday, aren't we? Tried putting a few extra pounds on some jobs yesterday, but everything was declined. I also noticed that a few shippers have asked me for my reg as my bid has been after my bid has been accepted, only to say that I can't do the job due to my van being over 10 years old. They say it's the customer, but I'm convinced it's the shipper changing the rules. They should put in the information section that, because it's a slightly awkward conversation. What would I say about that? I'll take it personalised number plate. Because then if your van looks tidy, but you could, you just get one that says TCS 503, it's TCS Services P or something like that, then they wouldn't know the age of your van. Well, they wouldn't know the age of your van from your number plate, and probably to get TCS 503, but it would only cost you a few £100. That could be, if your van's tidy. I've always said, I mean, my mate Ken's got a really, really old van, but he's got OCD. He's had the engine done, he's had everything done, he's had the bodywork done. It looks like it's just rolled off the production line. That would be the answer, I'd say. Get yourself a number plate. Anyway, good luck. And finally on the subject, Hong Kong Fooey says, plenty of jobs going to the end of the earth today, which is good if you live there. Yeah. Sorry, mate. So I don't know how you got. I hope you guys did all right on the lead up the bank holiday. I don't know how well you got on, but good luck. Right, we also did the multi-drop monthly. Steve Campbell says it's a bit out of date. I had a small presence to do with it is out of date. And Shane Hardy says I think Herbie's is now called Every or something similar now, just to keep you up to date. The thing is, I recorded that video months ago. Because the idea is I'm supposed to do one a month, which links in with the Circuit channel, because the Circuit actually pay me to make videos for their channel. And then the video that it was going to be matched up against on the Circuit channel just didn't come out. I spent all week, that's what I've been doing this weekend, recording videos for them. They have got a channel, I'll give you a little link. Is that one? Yeah. Please check it out. There's one come up recently on the effects of multi-dropping on a van. And you know, if you're doing a multi-drop, you know, with unexpected costs, which you guys will come up. But what I'm going to do, as I've done before, I'll do one a month just generically. And so that's kind of more on a multi-drop, every Amazon, Argos kind of side of things. Let's cover that. But the channel's out there. It's just me talking nonsense. So see what you think. Right, and also on everyone who did comment on the multi-drop monthly, I've saved the comments, because what I'll do is I'll put them all in one box. We'll do them at the end. Right, paint your wagon. Oh God. The problem was it's got Palletways on the side of it, and I come unstuck, and it's all, I mean, the curtain is ripped anyway, and it's not in a good state. having said that, when you've only spent £7 on the truck, you're not going to go and then spend £1,000 on the curtains. It doesn't make any sense. So I decided to take terps to it, which didn't work, and then spray paint to it, which didn't work, and then paint to it, which did work, but would have worked a lot better if I bought enough. So Steve Campbell says, I paint your wagon. A Clint Eastwood film it ain't. No, mate. Have you seen any of the other videos? Yeah. So, and also I'd like to say, because a lot of you did receive it very well, and I'm very grateful. I love to say a big thanks to James Zed and Martin and John Gaskill and Hunter Vickers and Steve Bradley and JVC, Johnny Van Courier, Posh Boy, T.Y. Tyson, and Brian Webb, who was incredibly vocal on the subject. Not always in my favour, but then I'm kind of used to that, so that's okay. TDC Services, I think he was only joking in fairness. TDC Services says, oh Pete, I shouldn't laugh, but I'm an ex-decorator and seeing you do this has made my day. It will look much better once you've applied a second coat. Second coat? Have we met? You should really have used methylated spirits to clean the surface before painting. I would mask up the edges with decent 2-inch masking tape and get some nice straight lines. Glad you chose the paint roller method, as spraying outside the wind would have been a proper nightmare due to overspray unless you properly mask it with paper off. Yeah, I am that guy, mate. I'm that guy I'm no good at DIY, absolutely rubbish. I'm that guy that decides to have a go at himself and then has to pay the professional in to come and do it and pay them double because you have to pay them for the job and you also have to pay them to put right what you've messed up. I tried to change the gator in my car yesterday. It's very easy. You get a trim tool, you take it out, you put it back in again. It's broken now. All the bits fell off. It's perished. I'm like, oh, God, I'm rubbish. Paddy McGear says, get another 2.5 litres. I might, in fairness. S.A. Smith says, you need at least 5 litres a side. A bathroom is typically around 2 to 4 litres, depending on the size and number of coats you do. The area of that curtain is massive. Be more like painting a couple of bedrooms and a living room. It's not that big. To do both sides, you're looking at 10 litres easy. Buy more than you need, keep it spare, and if you need it for future. I'll find out how much it is. I've got enough other jobs on, but what I'll do one day is I'll ring them up. I've got the raw number, and I might do, and then I can do the cutting in around the clips at the bottom, and I could make it look good. But I've also want to do the sidebars, and there'll be another video where I've smashed up the fiberglass. I seem to think my lorry's a bumper car. No, I don't, in fairness. I really, really don't. It was just this post. I'm not even going there. M4 Productions says, I must have missed giggling when I saw you attempt to paint with 1 litre pot of paint. Being an amateur myself, I recently painted my living room. Presumably, you've now just got a blue square in the middle of what used to be yellow. Tony Mason says, I'd go for new curtains, Pete. Looks good and keeps the profit down. Yeah, it's the last bit that I've got an issue with there, the keeps the profit down bit. Hence the reason I bought a litre of paint, which at the moment is doing the trick. I mean, eventually, hopefully, we'll get another truck, and then we'll get another truck, and then we'll get more profits, and then slowly but surely, we'll upgrade the worst truck and the worst truck and the worst truck. And you keep going until you've actually got a fleet of like 6 nice trucks. And then, I don't know, then another operator somewhere else. You just keep going, don't you? Dale Steele says, need a heat gun to take the stickers off, will come off easily. Alternative quicker way would have been to buy some rolls of vinyl stickers and put the stickers over it. Yeah, I don't think them stickers are coming off. I actually think they're actually printed on the curtain the same way they printed the blue paint and printed the yellow paint. But anyway, it's done now. Shane Hardy, by the time you've done all the painting, it's going to be a limited edition painted by Pete the painter, Pete the wagon painter, courier. Yeah, did I actually tell everybody I am actually Banksy? I could do that, couldn't I? I could do some sort of art. No, I couldn't because I'm rubbish. Neptune Curious says, oh dear. He says, great, a real video, but you missed a trick. If you painted out ways, you could have been left with pallet distribution. Oh well, still cheaper than the new curtains. Yeah, Nick, London Creative come up with various different things that I could paint out to do different words, but in the end, I just slapdash. This word describes me. Slapdash, rubbish, amateur. There's many. Hey, that'll work. Van on the Run says, pure gold. Thanks, mate. He says, I take it the curtain on the other side is blank. No, that actually had more Palletways on it because it started at the other side and went, well, it's probably about the same really, but it's got blue splodges on it now. But at least you can't see it anymore. And finally, Gonzilla says, you duck it. He says, kicked off with thinners. He said, I had the missus by my side and I'm telling you it's going to look lovely and shiny. No, it didn't, mate. He said, next time I need a bit of bodywork doing on the car, I know who to call. No one south of Northampton. No, honestly, there are lots of people here that can do it, just not me. So, that was Paint Your Curtain. And on the subject of Godzillas, we're on to trucks now. I'm keeping you up to date because he's just starting a lorry, so you see how he's getting on the exchange. News from this week. He says the tank's got a week. Oh, the tank's got a week, which is an irony that I don't understand what that means. Today, Saturday, he's on JD Well fiberglass, fingers and toes, and everything crossed. Hoping, yeah, he's got a leak somewhere. So far, I'm touching wood here. It's worked. Splash of pour 15. Don't know what that means. Hope the wallet remains unwrapped. The foam retention issue is getting sorted thanks to having the China. Like I say, if the thing doesn't stick on the dashboard to keep your phone in the cradle, Gorilla Glue works a treat. I've done it, and so has new driver Tim. Works fine. But he's gone for 3.3 inch screws and some double sided. That sorted that one out. Now he doesn't have to lose his phone out the window. Also, hasn't had the heart to work out miles per gallon, however I've been forced to, sort of thanks to the tank leak. It's a tank leak he's got. So for the last week I've been working around a tenner for every 10 miles travelled, or not far off. That strikes me as high. I work out about £150 a tank, and a tank should get me 400 miles. So what does that work out? Ain't a pound a mile, is it? It's more like, well, £3.50 a mile or something. No, that can't be right. Yeah, that is high. If a tenner's getting you a mile, I don't know where I'm going with this, but it does sound high. Maybe it's not. No, it's fine. Not for us. So around 10 miles per gallon. I was like, yeah, it shouldn't be that. I know that when I put my computer on, it flicks between 17 miles per gallon and 60 miles per gallon, depending on whether you're coasting on a motorway or whether you're going around town. So you probably should be averaging around 25, 30 miles per gallon, I think. I don't know. I know what I'm doing. Anyone know that? How many miles per gallon should a truck be getting? Everybody who actually understands this, please let me know. I only say it's cancelled jobs in Loughborough would have burned 25 quid's worth of diesel returning a single pallet, and to ask another £75 just wasn't bad at all. If you'd asked, oh yeah, because I returned the pallet, didn't I? If you'd asked 50 quid, it may be less than a tenner after. Yeah, that's the thing. I had to go back and fetch some pallets from Loughborough, and the guy was horrified when I told him he'd have to pay £100, but for less than £100, I'm just going to keep going. He got his, and on the lead up the bank holiday, he's got nothing today, Pete. 1 p.m. and the wheels haven't moved. It's been work I bid on, just not getting there. He said, I'm ignoring the 7.5 ton jobs because of the money. Don't ignore the 7.5 ton jobs. Just bid them at £3 a mile. That's what I would do. If it's a 7.5 ton job, you bid £2.50. If it's a 18 ton, that's what I do. I bid £3. But if it's a 7.5 ton job and I can't afford to do it for 7.5 ton money, I just bid them the £3. There might not be any other trucks out there. They're not always in ready supply, and the customer might be a well-paying customer. They might be happy to pay the £3. You can bid them. They can say no. There's no offence. Just say this is what I need to do it. And also the thing is, it will come up on their computer and they go, oh, that's a bit high. Oh, it's an 18 ton. Oh, that's all right. I understand why now. So they won't take offence. They'll just see it as an 18 ton bidding on the job and go, I can't afford it. Right, he's got one tomorrow. He's got one tomorrow. It's not great, but when I phoned the chap, said return, and when I put the phone down, I thought, hang on, what return? I looked it up. It says nothing in the booking, so I'll see on the day. Returns are great. If you can get returns, they're very handy. I'll wait until I'm loaded before loading anything. So another dead day. An early beer isn't wanted and welcomed when I am choking just to get out the door. Even considering when Wensbury to Wrexham, you can get stuff out of Wrexham, fairness. It's not too bad because of where it is. You're not that far away from Liverpool, you're not that far away from Manchester. It's not close, but it's not the worst area in the world. Mate, just keep bidding, keep quoting, keep your head down. If you build it, it will come. Good luck. And now we are into miscellaneous. Right, on the subject of overloading, the randomizer tank says, he said, I made this mistake myself because I got overloaded with some steel and I just took it straight back. New driver, naive. He said, was driving around in a refrigerated DAF 18 tonne, picked up 12 pallets of coke, left site, got to the delivery point in Wellingborough and asked to use the weighbridge on the site, and it turns out I was on 1950, never again. A general rule of thumb, IBCs, pallet of coke, any litre of liquid weighs a tonne. Your average motor, an 18 tonne, can probably carry around about 10. It might be different if it's a fridge because you've got the fridge on unit on board, but you might not have a tail. So the two might balance each other out. I would say if it's liquid, no more than 10 pallets really. And that's kind of at the extreme. But again, I'm still learning this stuff myself, so good luck. Corrigine71 says, have you got a reversing camera? Typical miles per gallon in the truck. I think we've established that I haven't got a clue. And approximate rate per mile. In a truck, as I say, I quoted £2.50 to £3 a mile. All I know is I get to the end of the week, I see how much money I have made gross and how much money I spent on fuel. And one far outweighs the other. So that's kind of profit less deductions, but it's working. I know it's a simple way of doing it, but it works for me. As for reversing camera, no, I'm very careful to look behind me before I pull backwards, because there's a big difference between reversing a 7.5 tonne and an 18 tonne. 7.5 tonne would turn on a sixpence. It was like driving a van. The 18 tonne, I struggle to turn it around in an airfield. I don't know what it is, the extra metre or something, but it's like, you go, oh, I've got a nice big space there, and you got to turn it around, and you go, Christ, oh my God. On boots, Tefanator says, if you don't mind spending a fair amount of money, check out Builders Pros and Nick's Trainer Pro boots. Pricey but worth every penny. And they're a pain to break in, but again, well worth it. Like wearing slippers now. I did see them. They're a lovely pair of boots. Also, someone else showed me a dealer pair of boots, which are really, really expensive. I'll be happy. I still love me Boondocks to the stage that the only problem with the Boondocks is because of the accelerator pedal. The accelerator got a clutch, is it? So my right boot heel wears down so much faster, but I've got this glue stuff that you're spraying it. I'm just setting it at the moment, and when they finally die, I probably will invest in a new pair because I do really like them. Tajish Patel says, if the CX told a driver to send an invoice, then the shipper doesn't. Hang on a second. Yeah, and the shipper doesn't pay, then the driver has the right to raise complaints against the shipper, and the CX should side with the driver. However, I doubt the CX would acknowledge that they give such advice, leaving the driver in the lurch. To be honest with you, Tajish, it's kind of just you versus them. It's one of those, there's what should happen and what actually does happen, and at the end of the day, the CX really is just there to sort of put you in touch with people and then just leaves you to fight your own battles. And that is what it is. Is it right? Just is what it is. White Van Man says, similar issue going, oh yeah, the thing about the North and the Blackwall Tunnel, if you're in the right-hand lane and you want to take the first exit, it's a bit harassing with the solid white lines. I think it can be done, but you don't have a lot of space to get over. Literally, if you had to do it, you'd have to do it like that. What to do if you're coming out of the Blackwall Tunnel and you're going north, well you will because it's a tunnel, and you're in the right two lanes and you need to exit for Thurrock services, take the second exit. There's one there which you can't take because it's a solid white line. 200 yards down the road, there's another exit. You come off that, you go around the roundabout, you go back on yourself. It's just the easiest way. DJ Tyson Sheriff says, hi Pete, I'm not sure if you've answered this a million times. I'm coming back to London now from a long trip to Thailand. I'm thinking of getting back on the road with the Courier Exchange and wondering if there might be the best van, or best find a van or a Luton dealer I should start with. I have a clean licence with C1, which means I can drive up to 7.5 tonne. And have a lot of driving experience with many disciplines. I've done a video on the best van to buy. How to go about buying a van. It tends to be eBay or dealers, and the van will jump out at you. Just know your budget, get the best one you can, and then away you go. If it doesn't work, you can always sell it. And the final word today, well, Anonymous says, left the CX, it became diluted, fed up of chasing your earnings. That in itself was a full-time job. Yeah, this is true. This is why I have two people in an office. Don't consider the CX is rubbish. Well, you're not the first to say it, and you won't be the last. It's working for me. And in conclusion, this week we got Steve Campbell again. He said, "Could you do the thing?" He said, "I transported the Deaf England cricket team back when I was driving a minibus a few years ago. I was basically contracted to move the cricket team around." the cricket team, they were deaf university students of Durham. He said that the cricket mob were fine, the people transporting them weren't. Yeah, on a similar note, I used to drive around. It was a blind football team. It was just, they didn't, well, not professional or anything like that. They used to play shows and fates and stuff like that. And the way they got around it is they put a bell in the ball. So you just, they'd chase the noise. But eventually they had to stop playing because one day they played a fate and they kicked all the Morris dancers to death. That's not true. There we go, guys. Bank holiday's nearly over. I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you had a lovely rest. And I hope you get back on the road. Take care. Take money.